Most people think joint pain is just something old people get, or that it's all about genetics and bad luck. But that's only like a small piece of the puzzle. A huge chunk, probably 50%, is actually what you put in your mouth. Luckily, if you start making smarter food choices right now, there is an easy way to make your joints feel almost brand new. Step 1 is to understand the enemy. The stuff that actively tries to make your joints ache, swell, and just feel terrible. It's not just about losing weight to take pressure off your knees. It's about what happens inside your body when you eat the wrong things, like a slow, painful sabotage. For example, I'm gonna cut out all sugary drinks and fried food by next week, and processed snacks by the week after is a good goal you can measure, and it even has checkpoints. Then the next thing you need is a detailed and realistic plan that will get you to that goal. The plan might just be to replace your daily breakfast of white toast with jam and bacon with instead a bowl of oatmeal, some fresh berries, and maybe a boiled egg. Believe it or not, this one change is more than enough for you to start feeling a real difference in your joints in just a few weeks. But having the plan is not enough. You need to set everything up so that you can easily follow the plan. You have to buy the oatmeal and berries and make sure there's no sugary cereal or bacon sitting around in your fridge so that when you wake up, the easiest thing to do is just stick to the plan. If you don't stock up on healthy stuff and you keep buying frozen pizzas and sugary sodas and you keep putting them at the front of the fridge where it's the first thing you see, then that means you don't actually intend to stick to your joint-friendly diet. You're just looking forward to that one day when you give in and make your inflammation-boosting breakfast again. If you want to make it easy to eat healthy for your joints, then make it hard to eat junk food. Of course, that's easy to say, but no matter how much you try to avoid even looking at the bad stuff, you need to expect that there will be hard times. Like when you accidentally trip and fall face first into a fast food restaurant. You see that every item is designed to inflame, and you get the temptation to say 5 of the most dangerous words for your joints. You can pick from any of the following options. A, one cheat meal won't hurt my joints. B, I'll actually start eating healthy tomorrow. Never do this. C, I just won't eat later. D, maybe it's just old age anyway. And it's times like this when you need willpower, which is the ability to tell yourself no. You can build up your willpower by anticipating all the excuses you're gonna make and practicing saying no to all of them. You can even practice walking away from bad choices. But keep in mind that willpower isn't infinite, so you can't always rely on it. You're better off just avoiding the temptation in the first place. Finally, the real cheat code to feeling better is doing something for so long that it becomes a habit. If you can get to the point where you wake up and automatically reach for fruits and veggies, then the plan becomes 100 times easier to follow, and it'll keep getting easier every day you do it. Eventually, you might even start to like eating healthy and feeling less pain. At which point, like for many other people, it's no longer a lifestyle choice, but instead your entire personality. And this is the ultimate goal. Anyway, let's move on to the specific foods that are the real killers. There's no real accurate way to track your joint inflammation besides maybe a doctor's visit or just how you feel every day. But once you start seeing visual progress, like less swelling, it starts to become more and more noticeable very quickly. So to really measure your progress, you should maybe keep a journal of your pain levels once every morning. Just know that it can fluctuate a lot based on your activity or the types of foods you eat that day, which means you might avoid inflammatory foods for a day, but your pain might not change right away. So instead of looking at your day-to-day progress, just look at your average week-to-week progress. So you've probably heard that to reduce inflammation, you have to avoid certain types of foods. That means if your body reacts badly to processed sugar, then eating less of it will make your joints feel better. That's because the body won't be constantly fighting off an inflammatory response, and a teeny tiny bit of that feel-good mood will start to creep in. And if you drop those inflammatory foods even lower to almost 0 a day, you'll feel better more quickly, but at the expense of it being way more difficult for you to maintain. The traditional, optimal way to figure out what triggers you is to keep a food diary. Be honest about what you eat, why lie, and then eat around these numbers every day as a starting point to reduce pain. But it's worth noting that everyone has different triggers, and it can be especially off for people with autoimmune problems, gut issues, or food sensitivities. So the best way to know for sure is to start with a clean diet, and then slowly reintroduce foods to see how your body changes over the next few weeks. If you find that each week your pain is not changing, then you need to be even stricter with your diet. And if you ever reach a point where you haven't felt any relief for at least a week, you'll either need to reduce inflammatory foods again, or you could also just add in some more joint-friendly exercise. Now, for some people, this method works perfectly because in theory, you can't go wrong with it. The only problem is you have to track exactly what you eat per day, using food diaries, symptom trackers, mental math, and also being super aware of every ingredient in your meals. If you're American, you might not be familiar with ingredient lists, but you don't have to worry, since most fast food menus already list common allergens, but not inflammatory compounds. Anyway, you can also get away with just roughly estimating your inflammatory intake, but this only really works if you play it safe and round everything up like crazy. If you think it's just a little sugar, it's probably a lot. If you think it's healthy because it's low fat, it's probably full of sugar or unhealthy oils. And if you think it's too small to count, it's probably at least 50 times worse for your joints. So before we get into the method where you don't have to track anything at all, we need to talk about the main culprits. Whether you track them or not, a lot of people want to know what exactly they should be avoiding. And to be honest, for most joint pain purposes, all you need to look at is highly processed foods and sugar. You need a certain amount of good fats, a certain amount of protein, and then you can fill in the rest of your meals with whole, unprocessed foods. Just make sure for bad fats not to overeat stuff like fried food, processed snacks, fast food, and anything with partially hydrogenated oil. Because even though some fats are healthy in moderate amounts, trans fats and omega-6s from processed oils have a huge inflammatory effect, which means one pack of highly processed chips has about 3 times the inflammation potential of a dying star. Also, if you've ever heard health experts say that carbs cause joint pain, they're not talking about fruits and vegetables and whole grains. They're talking about refined, highly processed carbs that are usually very delicious and are stripped of most, if not all, of their nutrients when they're being processed, especially foods with lots of added sugars. Here are some examples. Did you catch that, subtitle reader? You'll notice that this is basically the entire junk food aisle. The problem with these is that they're unnaturally delicious, easy to overeat, they cause massive inflammation, and they just end up making you feel worse. Of course, you can still have them every day and your joints will still ache if you're constantly inflamed, which is why some people like to brag about how they can eat a family-sized box of sugary cereal every day and still function. What they don't tell you is that they have a constant dull ache in their joints for 23 hours a day, their blood work comes back with just a giant crying emoji, and simply adding milk to their cereal makes their pain worse, so they have to use water. And that brings us to the method, how to reduce joint pain without tracking anything. The number one trick is to just start slowly eating more minimally processed foods, avoiding junk, chips, sugary desserts, stuff with lots of refined carbs, and instead swapping that out for fruits, vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats like avocado or olive oil, and whole grains. You'll find that these foods are so filling and anti-inflammatory that you can eat them every single day without having to feel that constant ache. If you don't believe me, this is a small pack of gummy bears full of sugar, and this is a bowl of strawberries full of antioxidants. Another tip is to just stop snacking on junk and only eat during meals. It's okay to snack on fruits and vegetables and maybe even some joint-friendly nuts like these if you really get cravings, but most people snack on high-inflammatory, tasty junk food because they're bored, stressed, or thirsty, not because they're hungry. So cutting out those bad snacks is actually one of the easiest things you can do since your body doesn't really need them anyway. And over time, you'll just stop getting the urge to snack on junk. Ideally, once this happens, you'll start to slowly develop a feeling of, I'm better than everyone else, which should be enough to keep you going till your joints feel amazing. But in case times get hard, here are some more tips. Number 1, start drinking lots of water. Water is very important for joint health, and half of the time when you feel a phantom ache, a quick drink of water will get rid of the feeling. Just keep a big water bottle next to you and you'll never forget. This will also prevent you from craving high sugar drinks like soda, juice, and energy drinks. Number 2, if you keep saying the real joint diet starts tomorrow, then it'll never start. Number 3, avoid liquid inflammatory foods. It's way easier to drink lots of sugar in the form of sodas and juices than it is to eat it. Number 4, lean protein sources, anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric, and whole grains are great swaps you can make. Number 5, you can make healthy meals like this and this taste good with 0-calorie condiments and spices and sauces and 0-calorie sweeteners. But don't overuse them because in general, the tastier your food is, the more cravings you'll get for tasty food. Number 6, use 0-calorie diet sodas to your advantage if you have sweet cravings, but be careful with artificial sweeteners. Number 7, eat high-volume, high-fiber foods that fill up your stomach and help reduce inflammation. Number 8, eat around 3 to 5 meals a day since it helps you avoid long periods of feeling hungry and it's usually easy to fit into your lifestyle. One big meal a day might also work, but people tend to give up on that diet very quickly. Number 9, save your biggest meals for times when you tend to get the hungriest. Number 10, many people find it easy to manage inflammation when doing intermittent fasting. It involves only giving yourself a 4 to 8 hour window to eat and then not eating the rest of the day. It might sound hard, but just know that when you don't eat, you won't just be constantly aching. Hunger and pain come and goes in waves. So if you just wait a little bit, the hunger and ache goes away. Number 11, eat more anti-inflammatory foods because they make you feel better and your body actually uses energy to process good food instead of fighting off bad stuff. Number 12, speaking of supplements, fish oil is good, but it's a pill, so it's not really as filling as other anti-inflammatory food sources. But if you need it to meet your omega-3 requirements, then take it daily. Number 13, if you want to, try black coffee or tea, since caffeine might slightly reduce pain in some people. Number 14, use smaller plates, smaller bowls, and smaller portion sizes because it tricks you into feeling satisfied quickly. Number 15, if you mess up, don't take it as an excuse to start eating tons of junk food. Because even though messing up wasn't part of the plan, giving up was never part of the plan. Now on to exercise. It improves your joint health, it strengthens muscles around your joints, and once you experience what it really takes to feel good after a walk, you're probably less likely to pop open a sugary drink that makes you feel bad. So here are some tips. Number 1, lift light weights. This will not only strengthen your muscles, but it also improves joint stability and helps reduce pain. You can use this website to get ideas for exercises. Number 2, go on more walks. Getting at least 10,000 steps a day is basically a cheat code for better joint mobility and less stiffness. Number 3, do low-impact cardio. While diet is more important than exercise for reducing inflammation, cardio will make it easier to move. If you find it boring, you can try swimming or cycling, or if you like, you can do circuit-style workouts, which you can find lots of on YouTube. Some health gurus like to claim that 15-minute YouTube workouts don't work, but remember that they watch hour-long videos of other people working out. Number 4, be less sedentary. Not many people talk about this because it's hard to explain, but getting up and moving around and just doing stuff throughout the day helps your joints way more than you would think. This includes activities that you don't normally think of as exercise, like taking the stairs, cleaning your house, gardening, cooking, fidgeting, standing, walking around, carrying groceries, and touching grass. Basically, anything except sitting or rotting in bed. Lastly, a joint health tip that everyone thinks doesn't apply to them is to get good quality sleep. Sleep regulates your hormones and helps your body repair. And when it comes to joint pain, these hormones pretty much determine everything. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have to worry about that. I already get good sleep. Anyway, please donate a subscribe to fund the next video.